All right, guys, as promised, Hardbody's still in the shop, and we're picking up right where we left off. Because in this episode of Pugliese Speed Shop, we're going to try and actually accomplish something. Maybe even make the Hardbody run. I almost got through with straight face. Well, here we go, guys. Not a whole lot's changed since the last episode, except for my shirt. That's it. So I'm gonna give you an update anyways, just in case, you forgot, or if you're new here, So if you are new here, take this opportunity, go down right there and click the old subscribe button. She's free. Might as well knock it out. And if you ring a little bell, you'll get a notification every time we drop a new video. So you can watch me take an ass whipping from this truck on a weekly basis. Might as well. I mean, if nothing else, you can laugh at my struggles, right? So why not? So last episode, we figured out picking the bed up is way easier than trying to struggle underneath the truck. So we did that and started running the lines for the new fuel lines because they were corroded and leaking. If you go back and watch the last video, you can, how was it described in that comment again? You can watch me try to convince myself to do something the right way. Yeah, there's probably some truth to that. I'm not even mad about that. It's actually pretty true. But I did convince myself to do it the right way, at least the right way for me. We ordered some new hard lines. We're bending them to put them back in the underneath the truck and get this thing running. That's the end goal, right? That's it. So before you say anything, we've already touched on this sketchiness. It works. We've already talked about the corrosion right here. Yes, it's terrible. Not a big deal. We'll cut it and weld it. Okay, that's over. We can leave those comments alone. Now, on to the task at hand. We got this line run coming out up front. We're going to cut this now and make it look all nice, and then make another one and flare them both, put them on, and hope they don't leak. So to do that, we got this flaring tool over here that we also mentioned on the last episode. We're still recapping, guys. I'm sure you figured that out, right? Eastwood Tools. So this is it. So you're going to see us use this here in a minute. I got to get it all set up in the vise, and well, then we'll see it in action. All right, guys, just bear with me for a minute and let me explain something that you guys might already know, and if you don't, well, you're about to. So you got a straight line here, right? And you got same size tubing, both 5/16. You want to connect them. So you do that, right? You throw your old hose clamp on it. You torque it down and hope for the best, right? But we all know that even with the tightest, no matter how tight this is, eventually it can slide off. There's nothing to hold on there. When you get the pre-made lines or the ones that are in the vehicle to begin with, you got a little ridge right in here, and that it keeps everything together, right? It keeps everything something to hold on to. A lot of guys do. I've done it a ton of times. You take a little sandpaper when you're doing a repair like this, and you score it up, and it gives the inside of this thing something to bite on. Usually that works, and you don't have any problems. These things run at 60 psi according to Nissan specifications. So I'm a little concerned that this might end up off of it, right? So I figure, got this fancy dancy little flaring tool here. Now granted, this was not going to give me the little ridge that we, the lines you buy will have. I'm going to try something with one of the settings this has on it, and we'll learn together. It's that easy to put together, right? This thing is awesome. I'll tell you that right now. So, we got our line over here. Not flaring the hose. Deburr it. This is the biggest thing for this thing, is they say you gotta deburr it. Any little extra metal in there, it's not good. Alright. Next thing they said, you gotta make sure you use some kind of lube. I don't have any kind of special stuff, so putting they said anything work WD-40, Croyle. I got a little PB Blaster stuff there, so put that on there. Now we're using 5/16. So these dies here, so you put them in. There you go. And you put this little fella in there. And then this little guy. And put it in there. And just, you snug it up, you're not going too crazy yet. Take this guy. Set everything, right? Now you hunker down. Put on the setting for, we're going for a bubble flare. So, it's going to be, which one is it? .5/16 operation 1. Yeah? I think so. We'll find out. This is 3/16. Yeah, give it a shot. Grab this guy and alright, get this off, this out. And there is a perfect little bubble flare. Not bad, huh? This thing is super easy to use. So, let's see if my idea works. My idea is to put this on over here. Put a hose clamp on it. And stop it from coming off. That looks like it's going to work, guys. What do you think? And it's just as hard as easy as get this stuff off. I think it's worth a shot. So, there you go. Put this little guy, clamp it. Shouldn't have any leaks. It shouldn't come off because you want to clamp on it. I think we're all right, guys. So, I guess, yeah, that's what we'll do. I just realized there's probably like a 110% chance my elbow was in the way of some of that. So I'll give you a little close up here. There's that bubble flare. Right, see how I said it's real, forgiving, I guess, right there. So if you had a big flare coming out like this, that's a double flare. You wouldn't have this little bit of like right here, kind of like whoops, to get on there. So that's why I thought go with the bubble flare. And you can see here, this is how it all works. Look at the die. First thing I did is put the die in there. do that. As I do this, and I put on operation 0, which is right there. And then when I pulled on that, it set everything. See, it's just all flush. And then you have all your different settings here. So I went to operation 1 for 5/16. That's the little bubble flare one. Some of these you have, you know, for the single flare, double flare, you can do AN stuff. You can do all sorts of stuff. This little guy, I said it was like $200 off like the Eastwood website or whatever. It's awesome. I bought it because I had to make that bubble flare to do the lines on the caddy, and I didn't see any other way I could do that. And you guys saw how easily it works. So if you guys make a bunch of lines, if you're doing this all the time, this is way better than, you know, the other kit everybody's got, right? I'm sure. I think every toolbox has it. You know, this guy with this thing. Yeah. I'm telling you, if you're doing it all the time, that's what you want to get right there. Yeah, so for real, I wasn't sure how that was going to work out. I made the bubble flares before, and I've used the tool a couple times before. I just wasn't sure if it was going to work with that hose. Seems like it will. Seems like it goes on just like the stuff does when you have those, you know, the factory lines or whatever. So hopefully that's true. Hopefully it all works. Only way to really find out is put this together and put some pressure on it. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to make the rest of these lines up and then just start installing them. We got it all plumbed up here. We got the here's our new hoses coming down to our new hard lines. Going forward there, we'll probably put some clamps on it, maybe take the old ones out of there or whatever, but we'll make sure this all works first. So we'll come around the sketchiness. See what we got going on over here. Lines come in right here. This is, trying to give you the light. Feed line with the filter and the return line both connect. Right there. That's all good, and the battery is connected and fully charged. Guess we'll see if this works. So an engine needs three things to run, right? Spark, air, fuel. We finally got fuel in this thing, and poof, she barks to life, right? I mean, it's not rocket science, but man, was it getting annoying, right? Obviously, I'm happy. I'm super relieved that everything seems to be working as it should in the fuel system now. So we'll move on from here. But today's coming up when the little experiment we did with the fuel lines, as far as with the flaring tool, seems to be holding pretty good. I mean, give it time, but they were a little extra. And here's full disclosure: to get that thing on there, it was yeah, I had to do a little doing. You know what I'm saying? They worked fine with the line right here in front of us, but when I was reaching and stuff, and then the two lines in the front are older, so they weren't as pliable as the ones in the back. So the ones in the back are fine. The ones up front took a little doing. So I don't think I think it's going to work just fine. But so that was good. We tried that. It worked. Everything's holding tight. Thing idles good. Since we run and say it's not noisy, it sounds good. Blew a little bit of smoke, but this thing's been sitting for a year, maybe two. I don't know. We don't know a whole lot about the truck. We bought it from the guy who only had it for 2 weeks. All he really did was drop the fuel tank. That's about it. So yeah, we're learning as we're going, and this is just what happens when you buy something that somebody gave up on. So the first guy who owned it, who I think had it for quite some time, and put a lot of money into it. I don't know if you guys noticed when we're working on stuff. All the shocks are brand new. The ball joints are brand new. Brake pads in the front are brand new. Rotors look new. Just a lot of new stuff. And it looks like maybe he was at his wit's end, and the either the clutch or the fuel pump, whatever went first. I'm over this. That's what happens. That final straw, right? It's just like, I'm done. Works out well for us because we can, kind of scoop it up. And I'm not going to say anything easy because this thing, other than being a lot of miles on it and being ridden pretty hard and then sitting, it's got all the things wrong with it, right? So, but it's good to know it wasn't neglected its whole life. It was cared for. So we just gotta, we gotta pick it up. That's all. Pick it up where they left off, and I think we're doing that. Now that the fuel system's all legit, now we'll move on to the next thing that kind of gave us an ass kicking, which is the clutch. Different system than I'm used to at all, but basic hydraulics, so it shouldn't be too bad. There's air in it. We got to get it out. So what we're gonna do is, we ain't doing nothing tonight because it's like creeping up at 11 o'clock, and I gotta go to work in the morning. Actually, I think it's after 11. Whatever. What are you gonna do? Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bleed it, obviously. So because of everything being on the opposite side, it's kind of a thing. They make tools for it, but I have not found the one for this truck. I found them for almost every other vehicle out there to fit onto that slave cylinder to be able to bleed it, not for this. So you're going to want to tune in next week because I'm going to try making a tool for it. It could come out amazing. It could be an epic fail. There's only one way to find out, guys. So, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, tell a friend, and as always, thanks for watching, guys.